Hey everyone, I'm Nick DeMeglio with NFL Draft Diamonds. We're here today with Lorenzo Hernandez, Western Kentucky defensive lineman. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Glad to be here.
So, just wanted to do this quick interview, give Lorenzo a chance to let, scouts and evaluators who may watch this video get a better feel for who he is and what his character is like. Off the football field, obviously, you can watch his tape and everything like that, but just get a better feel for who he is as a person. So, Lorenzo, you want to walk us through, a little bit about your journey or where you're from?
Yeah, I got you. So I was born in New York. I only lived there for about 2 years before my mother and I moved to Georgia. Was there till I was about 15, 16 years old. Then I decided to move back to live with my dad in New Jersey. Went to Cherry Hill West High School, played football, I wrestled, I did track, really excelled in the classroom, in the football field. And now we're here.
Gotcha. What did you do track wise? Did you throw or what events did you do?
So once in a while, I used to go on the run the 100
Oh,
once in a
wow.
while, just for fun though. But I did mainly shot put and discus and javelin, but excelled in the shot put.
Nice, man. Nice. Yeah, so I know your story's unique a little bit. You went to high school like you said in Jersey. You stayed home, I guess in New Jersey in a sense, went to Monmouth, ended up going JUCO for a little bit, and then went to Western Kentucky. I mean, do you want to give us a little bit more I guess like insight, like kind of what that path was like for you?
So honestly, it's not, honestly it wasn't even that. Out of high school, I committed to Villanova. Um,
Oh, wow.
so my first 2 years I was at Villanova, but in the Phil Simms North South All Star game, I tore my ACL, my meniscus. Um, so when I got to Villanova, I was under the impression that I just had hadn't done anything that serious, and I forget what exactly they had told me it was, but it was something that was maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then the swelling wouldn't go down. So long story short, we got an MRI, and I was told that I had torn my ACL, my meniscus. So obviously, I redshirted my first year at Villanova. My second year at Villanova, it was a lot of special teams and the third down package, and it was a lot more of like building confidence in myself to know like to kind of, I guess, if you've ever torn your ACL or had surgery, you kind of know how it is. You kind of get psyched out mentally, and sometimes you feel like you're not the same. So I feel like for that first year at Villanova, I was kind of just getting back into the groove of things. And after Villanova, I decided to actually go junior college. That's
Okay.
where I went to ASA Brooklyn.
Okay.
Excelled there for a season. I believe we went 8-2. Um, all conference, did really well over there. And then out of JUCO, I decided to go to Monmouth.
Gotcha.
Um, Honestly, at a JUCO, I was hoping to go FBS, but I was told I was too short. Had a lot of MAC schools come in the same week, telling me they loved me. Then when they saw me in person, kind of ghosted me a little bit, and it's okay. So I decided to go to Monmouth, stay in Jersey. I had a lot of friends that decided to go to Monmouth. So when I got there, the COVID happened. So we kind of had a little bit of a break. And then after that, we had the spring season. I excelled that season and the season after that. And at Monmouth was all conference, ended up starting about 12 games, had about 8 sacks, 13 TFLs, and really excelled. And I decided to hit the portal after that season. I kind of hit the portal very late because I had a grade 2 tear in my PCL in the second to last game at Monmouth. So I was kind of scared to get in the portal because of injury and my size, and I kind of knew the situation I would be in at Monmouth, being one of the older guys that's coming back starting, and it was kind of a tough decision. But at the end of the day, I still always wanted to play FBS football, so I
Mhm.
decided to get in the portal, and I had about maybe 10 offers in about a week, but my top two were between Western Kentucky and Syracuse. And Western Kentucky was mainly the reason why I got into the portal. So they get guys into the NFL almost every year, especially recently with D'Angelo Malone and Bailey Zappi. So I decided to go to Western Kentucky, and we had a great year.
Nice, man. Yeah. Uh, that's a very, very interesting story though. But I mean, at the end of the day, kind of like, I don't know. I always say everything happens for a reason. And
I agree.
yeah, I mean, that's one, like a great story, honestly, like kind of your journey and everything like that. Um, So I guess, talking more specifically about football, at least, I know you kind of touched on your size, at least playing the defensive line position. Is there anybody, I guess, in the league currently that you kind of like mold your game after, like, maybe who's similar size or mold to you or?
Yeah, so when I was in Little League, I used to always watch Warren Sapp. I used to wear number 99.
Oh, wow.
But when obviously as I got older and Aaron Donald came into the league and we're both about 6 foot, 285, shorter guys, twitchy guys. I kind of resemble my game after him and just love watching him play. And he's just an extraordinary and generational talent. And in some ways, I feel like I can be the same way. So I love watching him play and watching him pass rush and just go through dudes that are bigger than him. Especially when he was coming out from Pitt, he had the stats, he had all the
Hmm.
accolades, and people still doubted him. And
Yep.
the way he proved people wrong throughout his whole career has just been amazing.
Yeah, I mean that's one. I guess it really fits kind of like you said your size and your mold and stuff. And I mean one heck of a person, I guess, kind of to like mold the game your game and everything after. In terms of, I know you said basically in terms of the schools you've played at, collegiately at least, it seems like most of your playing time was more or less at Monmouth and Western Kentucky.
Mhm.
Um, so I guess, do you want to give us a little bit of like insight into how you were utilized in the defense at Western Kentucky, and maybe how it was different, at Monmouth?
So honestly, when I committed to Western Kentucky, Coach Maurice Crum was the defensive coordinator at the time, and 2 weeks later, he got a call saying he had a better opportunity at Ole Miss, and
Oh, wow.
those opportunities happen all the time. The same way that I got an opportunity to Western Kentucky, and I felt that decision was best for me. He had to make a decision that was best for him. But so when I was planning on going to Western Kentucky, it was a gap first defense. So it was the defensive line controls everything. If I want to swim into the A gap, or if I want to swim into the B gap, or if I want to penetrate the A or B gap, whatever I feel is best or whatever I feel the offense is giving me is kind of what I was allowed to do. And the
Nice.
linebackers would just fill off of that. So if I swim into the A gap, my linebacker makes me right by going into the B gap. So that was the main reason why I chose Western Kentucky. But as I said, he left and we had another defensive coordinator come in, Todd Summers, amazing guy, amazing defensive coordinator, but obviously the defenses weren't the same. It was a lot more of three down defense, playing the 4 eye,
Hmm.
um, in between the tackle. And I adjusted quick. It took a lot to learn because it was a lot more of hips, hands, feet, which
Hmm.
every defensive line coach almost coaches, but it was a lot different because instead of the hips, instead of just penetrating and stunting or even just doing any sort of penetration like that, it was a lot more of technique. And um, I think it was good for me to learn, especially because I felt like coming out of Monmouth, I needed to get better in my run game, and that's kind of what Western Kentucky defensive line coach Kenny Baker was telling me when I went on my official visit. I'm a great pass rusher. I do a lot of great things in the run, but there's some things that I could get better on, and
Hmm.
I feel like the way Western Kentucky utilized the defensive linemen, um, it could have been better. Don't get
Okay.
me wrong. The defensive line, we loved going out there every week and playing football, but um, the defense wasn't made for the defensive line, and the whole defense kind of known that. So it was kind of more of like a do your job kind of thing. And honestly, I'm all with doing my job. I do my job all the time if I have when I have to, but it's kind of more of like, when you get in that football game and you could beat this guy
Yeah.
inside. I wasn't able to do that at a lot of times. And, it builds humility, which is okay. But the difference between Monmouth was where I was kind of I was also kind of the main guy at Monmouth, especially on the defensive line. So if I wanted to go in the A gap, if I wanted to go in the B gap, it was a lot more. There was a lot more freedom, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Especially at Monmouth, I was also in the third down package. They asked me where I wanted to be on the inside or the outside. You know, we kind of went over plays to kind of get me more one-on-ones. And at Western Kentucky, I was even on the pass rush package, which was a surprise. So it was just a lot different. We only had two defensive linemen on the pass rush package at Western Kentucky. At Monmouth, we had three with two or three linebackers at the line of scrimmage. So it was a lot different scheme wise. Don't get me wrong, Coach Summers had one of the top defenses in the country.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't built around the defensive line, which is okay. But Monmouth is where I got and see a lot more of my stats and you get to see a lot more of my athleticism on my Monmouth tape.
Okay, gotcha. And then, kind of, I know you were talking about your film and stuff like that, and kind of like what the preparation was like at both schools. I mean, as a whole, I mean, when you're watching film, getting ready for like a game, what are some things you kind of key in on or kind of focus on? Maybe some tendencies that you're looking for, stuff like that.
So honestly, as Aaron Donald said, he kind of watches himself more than the other guy when he watches film,
Okay.
which I kind of had to learn a little bit because when I watch film, I'm trying to see the tendencies of the stance the tackle's in or the guard's in, or when is the center about to snap the ball, what's their calls for double teams, why do they have shorter splits, and certain things like that. But more recently, especially at Western Kentucky, I tried to watch more on what I could get better at because at the end of the day, what it doesn't really matter what the offensive guy is going to give me. It depends kind of how I'm going to react to it. And I used to watch a lot of my practice film and try to clean up my steps, clean up my hands, clean up my pad level, which isn't much of a problem, obviously, because I'm a shorter defensive lineman. But
Hmm.
I kind of had to look outside of the offensive line standpoint and kind of worry more about my film because at the end of the day, offensive linemen are going to be watching the film on me, and
True. Yep.
I don't want to be given the same tendencies every single play, and then I'm sitting there wondering what I was doing wrong when honestly the guy was just watching film. So
Yeah.
I kind of just had to look outside the picture and look at it all, and even look at the receiver sets that they were giving us, and if it was pistol or if it's running back next to the quarterback or just certain things like that. So
Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting way to look at it, but I mean, I'm sure that's like a great way also because like you said, I mean, everybody's watching film trying to pick up on your tendencies, and if you're not like aware of what you're doing, looking at yourself on film, I mean, I mean, you could be prepping as best as you can on the other team, but if you're giving away your own tendencies,
mm-hmm.
you're setting yourself up for failure a bit. So in terms of, when somebody throws on the tape, obviously you were utilized a little different at Western Kentucky and Monmouth. But as a whole, I mean, if there's an evaluator or a scout that's looking at your tape or if they've looked at your tape already, what would you say, like, you think your best traits or attributes are that come across on film?
I think some of my biggest strengths are my athleticism, my quickness, strong hands, obviously pass rushing. I'm always going to give you effort a lot of times on my film. If you watch it, you see me running down the field 20, 30 yards sometimes, just never giving up on the play. And I think those are some of my biggest strengths.
Okay. I mean, I'm a big believer in kind of like, obviously understanding what you're good at, but I guess understanding like where you may have a weakness or two, just so you could, continue to if you know what your weakness is, obviously you could make an effort to improve on it. Do you feel like you have any weaknesses that come across on film that you're working to improve on?
I believe sometimes some of my weaknesses could possibly be we call it retreat. So
Yep.
when instead of so we work ground to man where your hands are on the ground and they go straight into the man. And sometimes when you're trying to build power into getting your hands onto someone, it kind of makes you retreat back before putting your hands on. And
Yep.
I believe that was maybe a big weakness of mine, especially in the run game, like I was mentioning before I had gotten to Western Kentucky.
Hmm.
But Coach Baker, his D line tactics are basically ground a man, uh, whoop the guy in front of you's butt first and then get off of him. So I believe maybe the run game in certain aspects could be a certain weakness that I have been trying to get better at, working on the sled and just working the fundamentals that I've learned at the multiple schools I've been at.
Okay. And then between like your college journey, JUCO as well, I mean, do you have a best moment that kind of sticks out?
Um, Play wise or game wise?
Um, I mean, it kind of whichever you prefer. I mean, kind of just like your best memory or moment, I guess, along your journey so far, collegiately playing ball.
I'll say my best moment is either between my first game ever coming back at Villanova off my ACL injury. We played
Okay.
Temple at Temple. The year before, we had lost on maybe a wish-washy call, pass interference, back-to-back plays. I was out that year. Then the very next year, we beat them on a game-winning field goal.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was a big game, especially in the link. But I also think my first and my last game, I guess, my last game being at the New Orleans Saints Stadium,
Okay.
playing against South Alabama in the bowl game, RNL Carriers Bowl. I just think that was a great experience. Being out in New Orleans for the first time, being there for 4 or 5 days, getting a lot of time with friends, family, teammates, and then also putting it all together at the end of the season and honestly really putting it to them on the last game.
Okay. Gotcha. So, obviously, I know you had your pro day last week or 2 weeks ago. I mean, how do you feel like that went for you? And then also, you could give us, I guess, a little bit of info about kind of like where you've been training at the last couple months and how that went.
Okay, so I believe my pro day went really well.
Okay.
On the RAS score, um, I got about a 7.75 out of 10, which was, I believe, top 200 defensive tackles out of the last 25, 30 years.
Nice.
I ran a 4.9. I did 31 on the bench. My broad jump was 9.45. My 10-yard split was 171, and my 20-yard short shuttle was a 4.52. All of those rank in the top five and at the combine for defensive tackles this year. So I thought that was really well, especially since, as I told you before, was coming off a partially torn hamstring about maybe February 26th, 27th. I partially tore my hamstring running my 40. And my pro day was March 29th. So it was kind of a lot of like, I was worrying a lot and kind of
Hmm.
stressed a little bit because I knew how much the pro day was, how athletically gifted I am, and
Hmm.
I wanted to show the scouts that, and I was kind of worried that my hamstring wasn't going to be ready, but I pushed through it, got myself to at least 85, 90%, and I just took a swing at it at pro day, and um, for all the adversity that I faced the past month with that, I believe I did really well, honestly.
Okay. Nice. And then,
Yeah,
yeah,
where was I training at?
yeah. I guess like where you were training at or kind of what that was like. Yep.
Okay, so I was in South Jersey at a place called Adrenaline Sports Performance with Chad Hallett. I was also with defensive line coach. He coaches at Camden, Camden High School in New Jersey, called Coach Leroy Thompson. Um, he was my defensive line trainer, getting me through the drills and everything. It was just a great experience to work with those two. And then I also had a guy working with my 40 and kind of working on how to get my start better. So it was a lot of local South Jersey guys, but mainly at Adrenaline Sports Performance, a lot of South Jersey and a lot of guys training for the pro day were training over there. And I think he did an amazing job for the time that he had with us and the circumstance that I was in.
Nice. Nice. Um, So, I mean, in terms of outside of football, I guess, what do you like to do? I mean, tell us maybe something fun, interesting, a hobby, or something that you do outside of football that maybe a lot of people don't know.
Well, a lot of people probably don't know that I love playing chess.
Oh
Ever
wow.
since I was in grade school, I've been playing chess since I was, I think, in kindergarten in Georgia. I went to state tournaments for chess throughout my elementary and middle school, but kind of when I moved to New Jersey, I kind of like I play still online, but I kind of
Mhm.
got out of the club and club sort of scene when it comes to
Yeah.
chess. But other than chess, I like going to the beach. I like playing video games. Any video game you want to play, like I'll learn it, and I just love playing video games, chilling with the family, just regular stuff.
Nice. Do you kind of approach like football in a way, like with the chess background, like strategic, like I don't know, like a chess, like I mean, football really is a chess match, especially as a
Mhm.
coach and everything. But do you kind of take that into like your matchups when you kind of are playing, one on one against a guard or a tackle and trying to set them up, or?
Honestly, it is a lot of strategic, and obviously playing chess, you have to be two or three moves ahead of the person in front of you. And throughout my college and high school career for football, I've kind of obviously not taken things from chess and put it into football,
Yeah.
but kind of the strategic aspect of like, okay, so if I do this move and this move back to back, he might expect this or this, so I'm gonna do
Yep.
this. And I kind of think that kind of helps out. Just one little thing that I might do, I might be in the three tech, I might be outside of the guard, and
Yep.
I might turn around to my linebacker and say, I got this gap, and I'll point at the A gap,
Hmm.
and then I'll fake to the A gap and then come
I
back into
gotcha.
my B gap. And it's like the offensive
Yeah.
guard was maybe thinking, oh, he was supposed to go here. So he's going to lunge in when I go there. And then when I come out, and just certain things like that, just playing mind games or just strategic games with the offensive lineman definitely
Okay.
helps.
And then obviously, like, your kind of college career wrapped up, you're getting ready for bigger things, in a sense. Is there any guys back at Western Kentucky or Monmouth, I guess, that you want to give a quick shout out to?
Honestly, any guys for the pro day or any guys still playing that I played with before, I want to give a shout out to, because there could be certain days at practice or certain days in a game or just certain days outside of football where we might have bonded or helped each other out in many different ways. But I want to give a shout out to all the coaches that have been there for me throughout the journey, especially since I've been to multiple schools. I've met a lot of people, a lot of teammates, a lot of connections, and everyone kind of has given me some sort of knowledge to the point that I'm at today. And I just
Hmm.
appreciate everyone that's been in my journey so far.
Okay. Um, and then, kind of just ask you a few more questions and then could wrap it up. In terms of, everybody has challenges. Obviously, as a football player, you have challenges that you're going through, but also just in life as a regular human, you have different challenges that come up. How do you personally handle your challenges that you have come up, I guess?
Honestly, I always turn to God and put it into His hands. I feel like when I moved from Georgia and moved back to Jersey, I kind of lost faith, not faith, but I kind of lost how much I talked to God, and
Okay.
I stopped going to church for a little bit, and I kind of whenever things were going bad, I kind of didn't know what to do, and I used to just bottle it up in myself and just keep going. And honestly, you kind of realize as you get older, you can't do that. And um, I've just been talking to God a lot more. I've been talking to I don't live with my mom anymore, and I'm a mama's boy for sure, and we were distanced throughout my college career. So just talking to her and having a better sense and faith in God has just benefited in any kind of situations like that.
Okay, nice. And then kind of, I guess, like, ask you one more football related question. Obviously you played in a bunch of different schemes and stuff, but do you have a favorite blitz or stunt? Or no?
Um, See, I don't have a favorite blitz or stunt, but if you're gonna, if I'm a, if you're gonna have me stunt, I'm gonna love it.
Okay.
I always used to love at Monmouth since I was, like I said, the main kind of guy, especially on the interior. If there was any kind of stunt and I was in the position where I'm not stunning,
Yeah.
like we're switching because I love stunting. I love being able to show my athleticism and squeeze through gaps. And um, anytime I'm stunting, I feel like I'm gonna beat the person in front of me unless I'm stunting into a double team. And
Yeah.
I love stunting. That's my favorite thing.
Okay, gotcha. And let's wrap it up with, I mean, give one last pitch to, scouts, evaluators that might be watching this, in terms of why, they should consider bringing you into their franchise or team.
I just wanted to say that any team or any scout that's watching this or decides to bring me in, they're getting a player that has a chip on the shoulder, has had a chip on their shoulder ever since they started playing football because they were told they weren't tall enough or they told they weren't big enough or and I've always kind of proved the doubters wrong. They told me I wasn't going to play FBS football. I've had FCS schools when I was coming out of high school tell me that I wasn't big enough to play defensive line, and they offered me at fullback. So I've heard a lot of different things and a lot of doubt when it comes to me as a football player. And I just want to say, like, you bring me into a camp or any situation like that, I'm going to excel and I'm going to give you everything I got. And I'm very coachable, and any way that I can help your team, I'm going to do it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said at the beginning of the interview, just wanted to give you the opportunity, let people get a feel, for who you are character wise, and just as a genuine person, outside of, what you do on the football field. So, thanks for taking the time to do the interview. Hopefully it helps you out and wish you the best of luck, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Of course.